In this town, helmet embodies our pride. It's a symbol that's a perfect fit for the birthplace of football. It's who we are. Everybody else may not get it, and that's okay. But here, it's simple. We put on our helmets, and we go to work. And this year, when it's time to go back on the field, and the rest of the league looks us in the eyes, they'll see something from you. Something that harkens to the past, but only looks forward. A new era of Browns football returns.
Here are your hosts, Beau Bishop and Nathan Zagura.
Oh, baby, let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle. And look at you in the new lid.
Oh, kids. I'll tell
Now.
you what. For my peripherals, the white is so nice. It's so good. I'm feeling great. It's a beautiful thing. Like, look at the gloss here. A little gloss for the people.
We had
kids.
Obviously you had a feeling and various hints.
I mean, various hints.
Various hints.
If you scoured the internet, you were well aware this was coming.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would say, though, that I didn't give proper thought to, because we've worn this hat. We've worn this face mask.
It's part of our identity.
No, but even last year.
Yeah, we wore a few, like a one-off.
One-offer, yeah, maybe. But one thing that I didn't give enough credit to until now, especially now that I see it here, is that the color is back and the gloss is back. Mm-hmm. So that's the other thing that is really noteworthy from the previous helmet. Uno, do we have one of our other ones in there just for a juxtaposition? Do we have the one that we had signed?
Great looking.
Because we had the one that we had signed by everybody unless Gibbe used it in a raffle.
Probably did. I'd like to undo this chin strap, but...
Is it here? The one that we have signed by everybody? Oh, it's downstairs?
Downstairs.
Have Griff do it. Well, you're the head honcho. I don't need you running around. We got 2 interns in there.
2. Uno. Griff.
Yeah, but I just think it was, if you see them next to each other, then it makes it. That's it. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful lid.
It is a nice lid.
The white
Looks
mask.
good. Look at Gibbe. He likes it.
He's gone. Okay.
And now he's off.
Let me ask you, why would the CBD helmet that was autographed by everybody who came on this show in a 2-year period.
A pretty popular group of people.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Odell.
Why would that be downstairs?
Why would that be downstairs?
It's a question for Gibbe. By the way, we're going to need
Are you concerned?
We're going to need to update that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Get that.
Well, they're doing it on the building out front. I was thinking of this when
I'd like to get this
I
updated.
threw this guy on this morning.
Yeah.
And
it's yesterday's news, brother.
It's yesterday's news.
But you look great in that vest.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Previtz.
Yeah.
Did some great work down there.
I did mine yesterday. You did yours today.
So,
very nice.
Yeah, I think it's great. And we have J.W. Johnson. He's going to be in here with us in about 10 minutes, right? We'll have him on. So we'll ask him about the process and all of that. His quote in the release today, we're excited to honor our storied history through the return of the white face mask. We continue to write the next chapter of Browns history, reflect on different eras, such as the Cardiac Kids and return to the franchise that led us to this place in time. It's funny, when I think of the white helmet, or the white face mask, rather, I think of Kozar, Metcalf.
Yep.
That's Clay Matthews. There was a Clay Matthews thing on the wall here.
Yeah, right here.
That went across the entire wall of just him up close. And that's what I think of is that,
that era,
the mid to late 80s is the one that jumps out to me.
Of the Cleveland Browns. Here comes Gibbe.
I'm so confused why this helmet
It feels like it should be under lock and key.
was downstairs.
Think about what
in a box.
Think about what a one-of-a-kind helmet that is now.
Do you think that Gibbe was trying to get it resurfaced, and then is he trying to eliminate the helmet?
We'll find. Let's ask him. By the way, how about this next level Gibbe? Now he's highlighting things.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so this is the one. All right, there you go. Gibbe. Yes. Why did this end up downstairs? What were you doing?
We got rid of the shelf.
Okay.
You sound a little winded.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's why I wanted your minions to do it. I didn't want you to do it.
Good hustle, though, Gibbe.
You hustled.
Get him,
I need
get him
some
some water.
Yeah, you
get
did
this
good.
guy some water.
I'm not that gassed.
Okay.
All right, so you got
good.
Kareem on here,
Okay,
Joe Show, Odell, Jarvis.
This my side had Batonio, the Hoff,
Demarius
Randall.
Yeah, there's Demarius Randall.
And there was one other one. Sheldon Rankins.
Is that 98?
Sheldon Richardson.
Yeah, Big Shell. Yeah.
Big Sheldon, yeah.
Who came in here in a Montclair orange puffer hoodie.
Yeah. Is that a Mac Wilson on there?
It is a Mac Wilson. Yeah.
He got paid.
That's it. Did Freddie sign this? I
don't
thought we
think
had
so.
Freddie sign it.
Also, notice, look on here. Look at the stripe here.
Oh yeah, no carbon.
No carbon.
The biggest. I mean, if you you think you can get that off your head? I was concerned because it was a decent amount of strain getting it on.
It gives me when Dwight got that pumpkin stuck on his head in The Office vibes. That's what it looks like from over here.
When what?
When Dwight got that pumpkin stuck on his head in The Office.
No, it's off
for the whole episode. That's what it looks like from back here.
We're good though. Now we're good.
Yeah. So now you see, for those of you on the stream, now you see when you see them right next to each other, you see the enormous difference.
It's and this is a breathtaking helmet. Yes, it is an enormous difference. The orange, the pop of the orange, the white, which accentuates the orange, in my opinion, also ties in nicely with the white stripe in the middle.
Yeah.
The lack of carbon fiber is good. Now, this is the color that you and I were talking. Like, it would need to be this dark if you went with a brown lid.
Yeah, that's almost black.
It's hard for me to believe that it
This
isn't.
one really almost looks black with the carbon fiber.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have to be that dark. Somebody put one up.
Do you see a cream? Somebody had a cream idea.
Well, you know, I'd be a big fan of a cream.
Be great.
We love a cream.
Love a cream.
Yeah. Yeah, I think someone put one up with brown. It was brown with like orange numbers on it.
It's tough.
I don't think you could see the numbers.
You might have to just go brown, and then have the stripe be orange and white with a white face mask. I think that'd be the only way you could do it.
Yeah, I'm not thinking we should. Cream might be the better way to do it.
Cream would be good, and then I think you could have a cream version of the throwbacks.
Yeah, you could do a very light cream version of the ones
shadow
we wear,
box.
the shadow box.
Yeah.
I think that would work.
It looks very
and
vintage.
would look very vintage.
Yeah.
It would have it. We put up on
like it was made out of polyester.
I like it. They put up our logo history through the years. It's amazing, like how many incarnations of brand have been attempted. There's a bunch of different helmets
It's all
through the years.
The last four,
And then there's
this, then the gray face mask,
Right.
this, and then.
But even
now we're back.
the helmet's different because there's the one that's back from like the 70s, which is more like that 70s
With the
Riddell
two. Yeah, it's great.
2.
Yeah, that one's
There's
good.
that one that's out there. There's kind of a 3D, kind of a side one, which they had in the 80s, a side helmet. And then there's Brownie way back.
way back.
Where there are two different brownies. And I did not recall there were two different brownies.
Me neither.
It's one of the coolest brands in all of sports, one of the most beloved brands in all of sports, and one of the craziest brands in all of sports.
Yes,
It really is when you think about it. When you think about it, we're named after a guy and the various things that have been done. But this is it. This is beautiful. That thing is going to pop, baby. So we didn't have this. We didn't have the shiny this year, did we? When
the
we wore 'em?
finish. No,
we wore this.
We
It was
had
this.
that finish. Yeah,
The flat.
yeah. Now we have the gloss.
So now we have the gloss, and then you've got the white face mask. I'm in.
I'm in. It is beautiful.
Cool to see Nick in the video too.
Yeah, looking good. Especially amid the reports yesterday, there was feels like wild speculation that
jeez.
he wouldn't be
What did
back
I
till
miss?
November.
Is that what I missed?
Yeah, but it's unfounded speculation.
This is we kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday. When you don't have coaching change, you don't have front office change, you don't have a first round pick, free agency's wrapped up by the second week of March, it's just dead. And so
this team, we've talked about it. It's not looking for a savior. It's not. This team is not. Let's get hyped up. We know what this team is. We know what they're capable of. This is going to be about, does this team deliver on its promise?
Yeah.
Simple, easy, very simple in my mind.
Yes, but also when you are let's face it, our fan base craves content and craves information about this team because they're as passionate as any in sport, and you have people responsible for content that have to write something.
Of course.
So this is the way that it goes, and this is how. I mean, it was interesting, like how many different ways Deshaun's press conference yesterday was interpreted across the beat and us. And you had a text, and I was like, well, I didn't seem like that to me. And then we had people putting stuff on social in terms of the tone of that, and that didn't. It's not what I heard. But this is what happens when you don't have actual things, when you're not talking about a potential first-round pick, we're not talking about, hey, we got to work a trade here to get this X position. When you don't have that, this is what happens.
It means you're good.
It means you're good.
I got news for you.
Being good isn't the most interesting offseason.
I got news for you.
What's that?
That means you're good.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not the most interesting offseason, but that's the interest comes in the season, which I think is a good thing.
Who do you think is in charge of swapping out all the logos? Who's overseeing that? Because people are saying the YouTube channel needs a new logo. Stat, there's it's the brown face mask is everywhere. What is the? We'll ask
digital
J-Dub.
team.
We'll ask Mr. Johnson when he comes in here. What is your timeline on replacing all of the brown face masks, and who's in charge of it?
What are they gonna do with this, do you think?
And how many do you suppose are out there at the facility, on the media, it's electronic?
1 million.
I think it's way more than people realize.
Yeah.
I bet you feel like you've done them all, and then there's 200 more
that show up.
You go, oh God, I forgot we had them on this.
Yeah. Got to make sure everybody else has your marks as well. You got to get those marks out there. I'm curious to see what they do with this now, because this is now a photo of Nick Chubb.
I feel like we're all going to need new gear, like top to bottom.
Well,
we will.
You're going to. Yeah, because all of it is. You and I are both wearing outdated gear.
Well, it's outdated as of 10 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, that's right. Outdated, nonetheless.
You wonder, could there have been should there have been a quarter zip waiting with a new logo?
Probably should have been a box of that upon arrival. Yeah. Very good.
There's a lot to be done. I mean, my parka, which fortunately I don't have to wear often anymore because I'm out of the elements, has a gray face mask on it.
Does it really?
That's how back my parka goes.
Yeah.
It still has a gray face mask on it.
I was having a conversation this morning with somebody. It's like, why did so many NFL teams wear gray face masks? That was the default.
Yeah, it was just like that was the bacon. That was like what it came in.
Every NFL in those days, Riddell was the only maker.
Why is
and
primer?
You would only get gray.
Why is primer gray?
Right.
Because you can put any color on it.
Right. So in that time, there weren't an ability to put a colorized face mask.
No.
So if you go back and watch video of the 70s, all of them are gray.
All gray.
Yeah. And it wasn't until the late 70s, early 80s, and some just stuck with it. Some just stuck with the gray. So there you go. All right. JW coming in? Is that the plan?
I believe he will join
Are we
us.
doing accurate? Are we doing 115, or are we going to do...
He told me 115.
Well, I'm not going to make him wait. Not going to happen on my watch.
So
we can filibuster if we need.
We got a minute or two, probably.
Okay. All right. You want to give us a call to the bullpen when it's like take a break?
Let's talk about the fact that Golf League today and now Tornado Watch.
Till
we have
7.
tornado tonight?
Yeah.
7.
I didn't
Anytime
get that.
after 5 o'clock. From 5 to 7. Oh, now it's time to go to break.
Well, so it's interesting. Yeah, I got it. We're moving a lacrosse practice, to a different time, but I thought it was to avoid the rain. All right.
There he is.
Great friend of the
Luminaries have
program.
arrived.
Giant L. J.W.
Massive
Johnson
L.
joining us coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily
Does it
on
get
850 ESPN Cleveland. And don't miss Billy Joel, Ron Stewart together the first time ever. It's
Don't you
Friday,
dare.
September 13th. How could you?
Can't.
It's at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Tickets are on sale right now. You go to clevelandbrownsstadium.com/Billy and Rod 2024 for more information.
Billy and Rod 2024.
Billy Joel, Rod Stewart, one night only.
One night. Only chance.
Giant L luminary in the studio with us, Executive Vice President,
Humongous.
boss, partner, J.W. Johnson. You've done it, buddy.
Yeah, it's exciting. We're fired up. Thanks for having me, first of all. I appreciate you guys and all that you do.
It's a treat.
Yeah.
It's a treat.
When does a kernel of a thought about making a change get mobilized and then get finalized?
So, we thought about making a change a couple years ago when we were introduced the white face mask as an alternate when we had during the Ravens game. And, there's a massive process that has to go on getting the helmet change or any type of logo change with the NFL. And so we've had this thing going now for a couple of years. It just felt like the way it looked. I think the glossy kind of finish now is way better. I mean, the matte was nice, but when you watch a game on TV, it just feels so dull. And compared to now, I think it'll really pop, and the white face mask pops. And so it's we're excited. I'm excited. I think the fan base is fired up about it. So, I think the players are obviously very excited about it. So we're happy. We're happy.
So we were wondering, as we look around here, and we've got that logo there.
And just go, yeah.
How many do you think places does this logo actually need to be changed, and what army is responsible?
I got to thank our main man here, Phil Dangerfield, and his team for
They're out there in the front.
Yeah, we're already replacing the signage now, and there's a handful of logos. I guess someone commented that we needed to change the logo on your YouTube page already. So we've got a handful of things we got to go through. Stadium here, but we've already gone through the process, and we're happy to make those changes because this is going to be here forever. So we're not changing again.
Is there so Phil will handle the facility stuff, but then you're thinking about electronic media. We're talking about gear, like all of that stuff. Well, do you have a helmet change czar who oversees? Is that you? Are you helmet change czar? Are you making sure they all? Who's in charge of that?
He feels like a czar.
It's a big job.
The league is obviously helping out with all the merch and Nike and our friends at Fanatics, etc. But like I said, Phil, his team, us, where we've gone through the list and kind of made the appropriate changes. So I wouldn't say czar. That feels very, I don't know.
I like the TS.
Regal.
Yeah.
TS. It's a little ancient. A little
TS
Russian.
former czar versus CZ.
Yes.
TS maybe.
Yes. So as you sit here, you look at it is beautiful.
It's glorious. It's absolutely glorious.
Yeah.
And it's going to pop with it's going to look so good. Just because this is completely out of left field, but we were going through yesterday trying to make every team now is allowed to have 3 helmets.
Yes.
So we currently have 2. We have this in the white, and we were trying to go through and think of potential thirds. So can we give you the Browns daily idea?
Well, I'll say this: we're definitely going to explore a third helmet.
Okay.
So to all the viewers and listeners out there, we will
baby.
go down that route of exploring a third helmet for next season.
Wow, there you go.
Well, maybe it was a good question. Maybe it wasn't out of left field.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
So
what more do we need to do?
We got to give him the CBD pitch.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
We got
the
the
pitch.
ear of the big man right
Yeah,
here.
that's true. Yeah.
Are you ready for this pitch?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay,
I think
we're
he's
quite
prepared.
prepared. Yeah.
All right.
He went to private school. He's fine.
We love the shadow box uniform.
Okay.
We think it would be cool to make it kind of look vintage, to go with maybe a cream shadow box uniform and then a cream lid with it.
Interesting. Cream, like in the sweatshirt that you used to rock?
The sweatshirt or the jacket I have, that starter.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That kind of a cream.
We'll put that in the hopper.
Yeah.
The brown is we've had some people mock up some brown. It's tough because it's if you just, I guess you just invert it, but it's tough.
It is. I mean, listen, we have 3 primary colors, so white, brown, and orange, and we've exhausted 2 of them, and it'll be interesting. We'll see, brown would be the natural thing if we did something that route. But no, we've already gone down the rabbit hole. We're looking at a couple things. Do you put something on the side of the helmet, which, we've seen stuff, but when we first got here, changing and putting anything on the helmet was sacrilegious, and so I don't think we ever want to do that, nor will we. But we'll see. So we may open it up to some fan interaction, and now we have you guys interacting as well. So perfect. We'll just add you to the mix.
And maybe there's a way to finagle like a little gray into the color, so we have 4 colors, and then all of a sudden
you could have.
Segura,
how many things are you going to ask for?
You could have. We're ideating. We're idea men. We thrive on enthusiasm.
Gray would be great
because then you can go gray and orange. Think of Rocky Top, perhaps. They have some interesting
I went to Ole Miss, so I have no affiliation with Tennessee.
No. There are plenty around, though.
How do you balance? This is such an iconic brand.
Yep.
It's kind of we put up the on the Twitter today, or the X, whatever it is, the logo history.
Yeah, saw that. Yeah.
Wow, like that. There's so many different things to it. You got an elf and there's a dog. Like this is an iconic brand. It's a beloved brand. It's kind of a widespread brand in terms of the various things that have been done through the history. How do you balance tradition, beloved, look like the Browns, which I think you guys crushed with the new uniforms.
Oh, my gosh,
new uniforms
perfect.
back, and obviously this too.
Yes, perfect.
And the third jersey with the white was incredible, with also trying to keep it to do fresh and do one-offs, that type of stuff. How conscious are you of making sure that balance is right?
It's hard because, look, I'm very traditionalist. I think, what we did in 2015 was a little bit of a reach, and I don't know if we really needed to do anything, but we did. And it took us a handful of years. Obviously there's a rule you have to have a 5-year window to be able to do something different. So that's when we relaunched the new uniforms in 2015, which I think have been a huge success. Our fans love them. I'm sitting here looking at the great Nick Chubb across the studio here, and it's fantastic. So. Yeah, I think we, with the new dog logo, that's something we pushed the limits with a little bit last year, and kind of the Brownie and getting the running version of him and seeing some different stuff. So we want to stay to our roots. We kind of want to try to tinker as much as we can and modernize, but it's really hard to do when your logo is a helmet.
Classic, right?
And, it's pretty simple. And like I've said before, if you were living in a cave for, I don't know, however long, and someone said, you brought out all the logos and said, what sport is this? They'd gravitate to us and say, well, that's football because we have a helmet, and that's what we're all about. We're all about football here in Cleveland.
I love it. I love that. We are all about football. Speaking of, guys, the boys are back in town.
It's awesome.
How nice is it having everybody back together?
It's great. Obviously the building's always busy and we're jumping here, but when the guys are here, it's definitely a nice new level of energy. First day of school the other day, we had a really good turnout. All the quarterbacks were here, which is great to see. Deshaun's doing well and doing everything he can to rehab, and we're excited to get him back. Seeing Nick and that group and that guy, I'm telling you, he's in here every day, every morning, grinding and doing everything he can to get ready. So do not doubt Nick Chubb. But yes, it was great to see everybody and, new coaching staff in certain ways. So just fired up. Phase 1 is a nice little tease, but as we keep going and get into OTAs, it'll be really exciting.
We always say, around here where our weather is what our weather is. We don't ever want to speed up summer, ever. But at the same time, with this team, it's pretty fully formed, and it's like, if it'd be nice if you just keep summer, but at the same time, you want to get to September. Sure. You just want to see this team play, because we were talking with draft. Now that we're through free agency, we're not really waiting on anything. We kind of have everything. Yeah. We just need some guys to get healthy, which are going through a regular process. Believe that they will. But we just want to see this team play, and that's kind of where we are.
Yeah. Obviously, we're excited about the draft coming up, too. I think Andrew and those guys have done a great job building this team, and through the draft, through free agency, and have really put a nice meld of young talent and veterans together. And so I think they'll continue to scour the mid rounds here in the next week, a week from tomorrow, I guess.
Listen, we're counting on them finding an MJ Emerson or a DeJuan Jones. They do that every year. That's
everybody else. Or getting a steal like JOK a couple years ago. So yeah, I think the guys are ready to go, and Thursday will be just sit around and wait and see what happens, and then Friday, Saturday it'll be a lot of fun for us. So. Excited to add some new players to the roster.
When you think of, and we were talking about this the other day, at least for me going into season number 12, this time of year in the draft was, for many cases, it was, okay, we need to find a savior. That's not where we are. Sure. Then it was, okay, we need to find a starter at this position, this position. That's not where we are. I don't know that there are really any necessarily starting jobs open. There could be some competition at some places, but this team is formed, and I would imagine it gives some freedom to find the best players, but also it's probably a draft that's going to have maybe some succession planning in mind as well as immediate impact, which is a neat kind of strategy layer to go into this with.
Yeah, look, I think we, in years past, it was like, we got to, listen, we were fortunate to get Jed Wills, and at that point in time, we needed a left tackle. Yep. He had to come in and play right away, and you wish you could have had him, maybe sit back and learn a little bit. But he was thrown right in the fire, and Jed's done a nice job, and he's continued to grow. We're excited to get him back and healthy. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a nice position to be in, where you're not filling for positions of need. You're looking at potentially best player available. There may be some position of need stuff, but yeah, it's a nice that we're not having the draft be our Super Bowl, and hopefully the Super Bowl will happen here for us in February.
Yeah, Super Bowl's a Super Bowl. That's true. That's it. Yeah.
Are you surprised that people continue to trade with Andrew Berry sometimes? To me, it would be at some point, it'd be like, not interested in trading with you. The track record's been so good, and now an opportunity to maybe have another very good value in Jerry Jeudy, and clearly the organization believes in him with that contract extension that he got.
Look, Andrew and those guys, that whole group, they scour, they look everywhere, they get very creative, they're very patient, which is good. I think sometimes you see people do something very quickly and let things happen and come to you, and then he's done a great job kind of maintaining that patience. And I would say same thing with the draft. We're in a position where, look, if there's somebody available at 54, great, let's take them. If not, things don't go our way, we may be able to acquire another fourth later on in the draft. So there's a lot of good things. Don't count Andrew out and the guys on kind of doing some maneuvering over the next couple of days. So it'll be fun.
He's the best at being nimble.
He's
Yes.
quite
He's
nimble.
always ready to go.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations on this.
It's beautiful.
This is awesome.
Yeah, I think we're very excited. I mean, thanks for the fans for providing their feedback. And we do listen to you guys. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but we try to listen, incorporate your thoughts. This is something that I thought was, and the rest of the family also said, listen, we think this is a good move. It'll look great. This will look good on TV. I think the guys are excited. We're just happy to have it done. And
It's a win.
And again, to your point, I can't wait till we have our first game here in September, and let's get rolling, baby.
Good seeing you, buddy.
Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
J.W. Johnson, Executive Vice President and partner here and owner, of course, here with your Cleveland Browns. New white face mask, glossy helmet. It's gorgeous. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Hey, it's Beau here for my friend, the James B. Beam Distilling Company. Some say that rye whiskey is having a moment. They certainly are. Overolt's been having a moment for over 200 years. This is what they do. The legacy continues today with A. Overolt, the latest chapter in their ever-evolving story of American rye. Taste what 2 centuries of experience can make with a robust Pennsylvania-style rye whiskey. The newest thing in rye is also the oldest thing in rye, and it's available now and worthy on a First Friday for certain. Yeah, the cream. I think it's the cream.
I think it's right.
I think the Browns
Listen,
really hard.
We got to make our.
Made a pitch. Made a
pitch.
solid pitch.
And we were
I
ready.
wonder if you could do it. I wonder if you could do it with the brown home jersey.
I'd have to see it.
Yeah.
I kind of think it needs to be.
You think it's got to be like all cream? Oklahoma did it. I know who did it. I know that's why that's in my head.
Oklahoma did a cream.
Yeah. Because their colors, their official colors, are crimson and cream.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it when right there.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, with a gray face mask, and they had the giant OU on it.
And they went with what, like a white?
I think it's this set. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the set.
So you could do like a cream with like a brown shoulder like that, or an orange shoulder.
Well, you could just keep our striping.
Keep our striping.
Keep our striping.
On the
I
cream.
can't tell if the jersey's cream. It looks like it is.
Looks like it.
Yeah, but I think it's almost more of an off-white, as like a mix of. It's not like as creamy as like those starters
my
jackets
starter.
we have.
Yeah, the homage.
Not quite that. But that's a good look.
Yeah.
That's a solid look, and the orange would really, as it does on that jacket, it would
Pop
bigly.
And brown looks good on that, with that as a backdrop.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think there we go.
For sure. It's a balance, though. It is, because you have a historic brand.
And everything
that
we
is
got right now
sacred,
is beautiful.
And it's all perfect right now. You look exactly how the Cleveland Browns would look.
Should look. I think sometimes when you have, and he had said it, and I think everybody at this point it's safe to say, that 2015 that we switched the uniforms. 14
I don't know.
Or 15.
You were the presenting. You were on stage, Coach.
I think it was 14. Is
14
right,
into
Dave?
15.
I'm pretty sure that was the case. Boy, that was a night.
Well, by the time
That is
I got on it, by the time I got here, they were already trying to. We had petitioned the league to wear the color rush as like our new primary home,
right?
Because we were just trying to get out of them.
So that would have been after 18 going into 19.
Well,
and then
18 we wore the color rushes a lot.
Yep, 19
Baker's rookie year
was our first season in the new uniforms was 20, right?
Was it COVID or or was it 19?
I don't know. We'll have to look.
I think it might have been 19.
The point
it was 19 because it was 20 because you delivered. We got jerseys, and you delivered it to my house because we were in COVID going from home.
That's right.
So that was 2020.
Yeah, it was the new uniforms in 2020.
So we had them 2 years. In 19, we wore the color rushes as the primary home.
We wore them a lot.
Yeah.
So it was 2020. So that means it was going into the 15 season that they made yours. But sometimes,
2000. Yeah.
While that was a misstep, and I think everybody knows that was a misstep, it almost made going back to the original better than it would have been had it just always stayed that way.
You wouldn't have appreciated it if it wasn't taken.
Right. And unfortunately for Browns fans, they've dealt with a lot of taken.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, look at the decisions look what's going to be unveiled here in the next week, right? So you had the Jets went back to a New York Sack Exchange. They did not go back to Namath because they were in that most recently, but they go back to Sack Exchange. Yep. That's viewed as a universal hit. I don't know. I wonder if Jets fans like those more than the Namaths. I wonder what one they prefer because they can have two that they could actually pull from. You have the Bucks that have gone back to a creamsicle as a third, and you're seeing that more and more. That sounds like what Denver's going to do. Denver's going to have like the Elways as like their one-off.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be their main.
It's what the Falcons have with their best uniform is their one-off.
Correct. And the same would be true in Denver. So then how do you balance, hey, here's some new uniforms, but really the one we know you like the most, we're going to wear a couple of times a year versus the majority of the times a year?
Then you get people
That's
to
what's
keep
hard.
saying, hey, hey, hey. And you say, okay. And then in a few years, that becomes...
That's it.
That's what you go with. Didn't those Elway ones on the whites? Am I remembering right? The whites had the baby blue numbers? Or am I misremembering that?
I don't think they were baby blue. Were they? I don't think so. I think they were blue. Weren't they orange numbers with blue stripe?
That's it.
With blue on the outside?
Broncos.
I think they had orange numbers.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay. I know on the orange jersey it was white numbers.
White. Or was it blue? Was it a blue number with an orange pinstripe? How can I not recall those? I can picture them vividly with the orange tops.
So it was.
It was blue?
Yeah.
Oh, so those have got to be sparkly.
Yeah, so it was blue with like a little yellow orange, outline on them. Now they also had, as I look back here, in the year 1994, according to this, they had a one-off, which was their throwback for that. Remember 94? Everybody wore those
the
old
75th
throwbacks?
Anniversary.
That had an orange lid. Yeah, how's that? I mean, that's perfect.
Yeah, that's the one.
They had an orange lid with a running.
Oh yeah,
Bronco.
I remember those. Yes.
Yeah, but they were the white with the blue. The blue. That's perfect.
Yeah, that's really clean.
What are we doing?
Yeah. So here's the thing that I think will be very fascinating for them because they're going to drop theirs next week.
Yep.
And they're going to have the Elway throwback. Do they do it with a white jersey or an orange? My guess is they do it at home, so do it with the orange, even though, to your point, the white is actually better.
Yep.
And then they're going to have a modern version that's going to be kind of a mix-mash of the current color scheme, navy and orange, with like the D. They've had that white helmet. I just feel like they have a layup, and they're going to try to make it more complicated than it needs to be, much like Atlanta did.
Yeah. I mean, Atlanta had that gradient jersey that was
right. Correct.
Absurd.
So we've got them. Houston is dropping next week. We've seen their away, but we haven't seen anything else. It sounds like they're going to keep their their home uniform the same.
Which
I don't know why you would ever do that.
stripe a little bit. Yeah.
And then they're going to have the H-Town blue, and then they're going to have a red hat. So they're going to have all three hats. And then you'll have Detroit. And that's a fascinating one, too, because they're a lot like us in that they've got a storied history. We've had more success recently, although they were great this year, obviously. But very similar franchises in terms of all of it, fan bases, cities, all of it. And when I think of them, I think of Barry.
Same.
And those seem perfect. But I don't know who knows if they'll do that or if they'll go the route of one classic throwback for you, but this is what we're going to wear all the time. It's tricky.
I mean, the reality is the Seahawks should wear those classics. When we played them, and they look unbelievable. They're gorgeous. That silver helmet.
Yeah, it's the crazy thing for them is I actually think the ones that they've been wearing for 20 years kind of fit the team, the city, all of it, like that neon and blue.
Yeah.
And they're going to do new ones, I think, next year. I was reading on them that they're going to do a new uniform next year. And they may have a variant this year, too.
That throwback logo, though, is so good.
It is. Yeah.
And you can wear it. I don't know. To me, it's just.
You could even keep the logo the same and just go to those colors.
Yep.
But the problem is that city, it's a little bit of like what Pittsburgh did, where that city's all navy and a shade of green. Like the soccer team's that, the baseball team's that, the NHL's that. They're all navy with with some form of green. So like navy's like the official color of Seattle.
Yeah.
At this point. But these are tough decisions, man, because like JW said, like you're locked into this for 5 years. You make a change, you're locked in. And that's it.
You want to get that right.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Who do we have? I think we have the 22nd. Is that when all the rest of them are doing it? Is it next week?
I think so.
I know the Lions are the 22nd. Houston.
Broncos are next week. I know that. Griff said that.
And Houston's, I think, next week, too, with theirs. Cal
all leading
McNair's
up to
been
the
leaking
draft.
a few of them out from time to time. So, yeah, that's what you're doing. That's what you're up to. As we go around the NFL and sports world, did you guys read this Belichick story?
So I have not read it in its entirety, as it is thorough.
Lengthy.
But
That's why I printed it and highlighted all the main talking points for you.
this new highlight, we commented while you were running downstairs.
Really
this new
remarkable.
highlighting that you're doing is wonderful, and you really have become adept at it very quickly. Yesterday, he gave me a couple things. We had a couple interviews, obviously Kirko and Hollywood.
Yeah.
And he gave me a one-sheeter highlighted. There were maybe 2 words that weren't highlighted.
So this is more.
This is he's hitting the top stuff here.
Yeah.
This is his
Yesterday
giant P.
after I did it, I was like, well, I highlighted a lot of stuff there, but
No, this is a huge P out
No,
of
this is massive.
you. Okay, I did read this. This is what I think. This is what I think happened.
Okay.
First of all, I believe that all right, here's what is alleged in this story by the way, anytime you see Don Van Natta and Seth Wickersham on a byline, and if it's about you,
Hold
run
your
for the
breath.
hills.
It's not good.
No, because it's comprehensive
piece.
and it's right. They're going to get it right. They're comprehensive. And they got Fowler in on this, too. Known Jeremy for a long time. He used to be on the Gators beat. All right. So the story here is that people in Belichick's camp are alleging that Robert Kraft intervened and told Arthur Blank, do not trust Bill Belichick
Yep.
with your job.
Yep.
And Belichick, on the day that they made the decision to hire Raheem Morris,
That's right.
believed he was going to be the next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
Yep.
And he believes Robert Kraft
We all believed he was going to be the next
undercut
coach
him.
of the Falcons.
We all did, yeah. Undercut him. Okay. This is what I think happened. I think Brady's a free agent. Bob Kraft goes into Bill Belichick and says, what do we want to do? I'd really like to keep Tom. I'd like him to play for the Patriots forever. I view him like a son. Belichick says, I think he's washed. I think we can keep this thing going on our own.
Yep.
I think I can flip it in a hurry. Trust me, I'll handle it. And then he watched as Tom Brady won a Super Bowl his first season in Tampa Bay. He watched as Belichick trotted out Cam Newton the first year after Tom, where they brought him in camp, by the way.
Yep.
Okay, so Cam Newton. And then he said, okay, that didn't go well, Bob, but I'm going to get this one right, boss. Mac Jones. Let's go get us a Mac Jones. He's our quarterback. And then that falls off a cliff. And then you hire a defensive guy to be his offensive coordinator. And all of a sudden, Bob Kraft wakes up 5 years later and goes, what the hell happened?
Yep.
I had the best organization in all of world sports, the winningest organization in the last 2 decades. And now all of a sudden, because of you, I got an also ran. And I'm wondering, how good are you? Or how much of it was the guy that has a quarterback who I thought was like a son? And maybe if I just would have went with him and gone with Josh McDaniel, we wouldn't be in this spot. That's my hunch.
It's interesting, though, that all being said and that all being true, you cannot deny what he did for that city, for that organization.
Sure.
For 20 years.
But that part comes into where I'm choosing you over Brady.
For sure. It's one thing to be like, okay, I got that wrong. I don't believe in him. It's another thing, though, to then feel the need to call another owner and be like, don't hire Bill Belichick.
Agreed.
That
another
feels
step,
like a real step. That's.
But imagine the bitterness.
But how can you have that much personal animus against someone who gave you
because
that
you're,
level of greatness?
Just to play devil's advocate, because you assigned the person who gave you the greatness to this person who he helped you run out the door, not you. The track record would suggest that Belichick with Brady versus without are drastically different.
Duh.
Right. So all of a sudden, the bitterness
Belichick
of that.
won when Brady wasn't Brady.
But he never won without him.
I think
when he won early, it was like winning without
Tom.
Tom Brady, even though it was Tom Brady. Like
I would
those
agree, but I would
teams and
also.
those
I mean, I was at their
offense-
first Super Bowl.
It was not about Brady.
The kid was clutch.
He was very
on that
clutch.
drive. He was always great in the postseason. They didn't throw for 5,000 yards, but he was honestly very similar with a bigger arm to like what Purdy does for the 49ers in
Yes,
those years.
but not even that prolific. But yes,
No, but different
For
sport. It's a different sport. In that
era, relative.
In that era, I bet it was very similar. So, yeah, I just think that's where the bitterness comes from.
Of
like,
course, but
wait a
like-
second, like Dude, what have you done to my franchise the last 5 years? I gave you carte blanche. You have both of your kids on the staff. You got your former defensive guy being the offensive coordinator. You tell me to draft Mac Jones, and then you don't give him a chance to succeed. Now I'm off of Mac Jones. I'm drafting another quarterback. I have no talent on this roster because I've given you the full keys of the kingdom. Go straight to hell.
I understand that.
That's what I think.
That's called you fire him and say, you know what, I need to go in a new direction. But then to go and call the
level of
owner
bitterness.
of the Falcons
There's another level
and be
of
like, Bill
bitterness.
Belichick doesn't deserve to coach in this league.
You don't believe he did it then? Or do you just think it's
No, I think he
vitriolic?
did. I'm saying, to me, that's over the top.
It might be, but I don't disagree with you on that, but I do think that's what happened.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I just think it's outrageous. Like, you may not be pleased with the way it ended, and you ultimately had the chance to maybe extend it for a couple more years. But you got 20 of the 25 right.
Yes.
He's a big reason why. Brady, obviously, as it went on, became the biggest reason why. But he was a pretty big reason why.
For sure.
Things he was able to do, his defensive scheme, all those guys credit Bill Belichick.
I'm sure Bob Kraft credits himself, too, a great deal.
Sure. I don't understand. It would be like, to me, if, I'm trying to think, if Phil Jackson
Okay.
or Popovich,
Okay.
like the Spurs have fallen off. Popovich they're not what they were. And so they, you know what, we need to change things up. It's the end of the Popovich era, but then I'm going to call every other team in the league and be like, don't hire Greg Popovich.
I think it's just more
That feels
believable if Popovich bailed on Duncan 4 years left in his career and said, yeah, he's washed. Choose my path instead of his. And then Duncan went to the Lakers and won a Super Bowl in year one.
He won one
That's
more.
where the bitterness comes from.
He won one more.
That's the bitterness. That's where it comes from.
He
Not
won
saying it's
one, and then
rational.
he went to the
But also-
NFC
Do
You think he
divisional
thought he
round,
was
like, the next
washed?
year?
At
I
that
think
point?
Belichick thought he was done. He drafted Garoppolo. Like,
Sure.
he wanted out of the Brady business 3 years before.
His last season in New England, they went 12-4. He threw for 4,057 yards, 24 touchdowns, 8 picks.
I think Bill Belichick
think he
wanted
was
to do it
washed.
on his own, and I think he was sick of Brady, and I think he thought that he could do it with anybody. That's why they drafted Garoppolo.
Sometimes things run their course.
Totally.
It was time.
He blew it. They'd have been better off keeping Brady,
Of course.
and that's the bitterness.
The wild thing is the last time that Brady was even in the MVP voting before he went to Tampa was 2017. So he had two more seasons where he was, I still think, pretty darn good. 43, 55, 29, and 11. Now, he did complete 60.8% of his passes that final season in New England, which was his career low. They still went 12-4. And then obviously went down to Tampa and was incredibly prolific where he's throwing the ball, 700.
But also, the AFC
720
East
times.
was trash.
For a long time. But I
Yeah.
mean, you had the Jets, you had that good Jets run. You had the Bills late in the
Allen.
run with Allen, but that's still that's recent history. The Dolphins really have only gotten good very recently, which is after Brady was gone, even though the Dolphins used to give the Patriots fits even in their heyday. It's just again, I get it that he made it. Ultimately, though, when you're the owner, you make the call. So his call was to give Bill Belichick the right to do it the way he wanted to. If he didn't want to get rid of Tom Brady, there's nobody above him.
Well, no, but he's not going to blame himself. What do you want him to come on there and be like, I really blew this? Like, he's got to blame somebody.
But that's fine. But I don't think you need to call Arthur Blank and say,
Okay.
don't hire Bill Belichick. That's the part that bothers me. Everything else I'm fine with.
You're this worried about little Bill?
I'm not worried about Bill at all. I just think it is an insane level of
Okay, but like
pettiness.
it's a billionaire owner. You're saying it's shocking he's acting irrationally?
I don't know
Like,
about-
is this surprising to you that he did this? Like, this isn't
Yeah.
surprising at all to me.
it's very
This totally
surprising.
seems like in play. It totally seems like. I bet many owners would do this. Bitterness. Jerry Jones kept Jimmy Johnson out of the Ring of Honor for 20 years.
It's crazy. I think that's crazy.
Like,
I think it's completely
you want him to
crazy.
be like, I mean, Jerry won't even. The guy was in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and Jerry's like, we got a lot of guys we got to get in there. Hold on. He did the Herschel Walker trade. He won 2 Super Bowls, set you up for a third. But because he got more credit than you did for it, he has to sit on the sidelines?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, come on. These guys are – this is what happens.
By
That's
the
what
way,
happens.
on top of everything,
That's why I think it's
ESPN
crazy.
I agree.
Bombshell article, Belichick's on McAfee right now. They announced Belichick's going to join McAfee next Thursday night for their special McAfee show draft night.
I think Bill will be
coverage.
very good at this. And quite honestly –
He's going to Omaha Productions. It's better for him
it's going to
that
be
he's not
better that
coaching.
he's not.
Yes.
But the baller move is if you look up McAfee right now and Belichick's doing this hit in the background, are all the Super Bowl trophies on shelf.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead.
yes, of course.
Call me whatever you want.
Well, I just think here's the reality of it. Nothing ever – it's very difficult for anything to end well.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
No matter how great it is. Look at The Last Dance with Jordan. The mess. I mean, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen can't stand each other now. Jordan's kid dated Pippen's ex-wife, was engaged to her, for God's sakes. The Last Dance pushed that thing in every other direction. Look at what happened to Shaq, Kobe, Lakers. Like, give me an example of dynasty greatness where it ends kumbaya. It's rare, man.
Joe Montana.
It's
The great
really
Steve
rare.
Young.
Yeah,
Foot
it's
singing.
hard. There's usually incredible bitterness, and usually what it comes down to is ego and who gets credit. It's tough.
I maybe I'm just naive.
Hey, did you guys see well, no, you're not naive. You're smart.
I'm just stunned that it's one thing to fire
Were you
him.
stunned that were you equally stunned that Jerry Jones
Oh my
kept
God,
that
that
up?
is the most it's
Absurd and stunned are different, though. Because I agree, this is absurd, but this isn't stunning to me.
And maybe the difference is, to me, like, Jerry's persona publicly is wide-ranging, emotional. So, like, for him to maybe be like, especially with what he did, Barry Switzer, all of it, like, for him to either love somebody and then hate them, it seems kind of in play. That's kind of he's kind of a maverick.
I think he's just far more public than Bob is. But I think there's a reason they're always so tight.
For sure.
Those two. They're very similar.
For sure. I just can't. I think the thing that's crazy for me is that as a person in his position, right? Like, when you pick up the phone and make that call,
Yeah.
like, you are making it.
Now, he's denied it. To be fair, he has denied it.
What did you say about when it's reported by Don?
No,
Marietta
I know. But
and
like
Seth Wickersham?
he has denied it. I'm curious how it got out. If it happened, how did it get out? Because it's sourcing from a Belichick source that Kraft called blank.
Or it could be from a blank source.
Yeah. But why would blank give up Kraft if they're that tight?
Yeah.
I feel like owners don't ever give up each other with a
So
couple of
he's
exceptions.
denying it.
Yes.
So that's interesting to me too. Now, if he didn't do it, obviously all you can do is deny it. So that would be the truth.
And honestly, even if he did, he could deny it.
But why would you deny it at that point?
Well, because he's still worried about his constituents, which are the fans.
And he would realize
wants
that it
it-
comes off not good. So
comes
then
off not good,
don't
yeah.
do it.
Yeah. But bitterness.
Vengeance on a person who was
You keep having the same conversation,
Hold on.
looking for a
Hold on.
rational thing.
Some percentage responsible for the growth in the fortune of this company. Certainly, it's brand, all of it. Like,
For sure.
the Patriots aren't who the Patriots are without Bill Belichick, even
No.
if Tom Brady's there.
No.
It's a wild level of bitterness. It's scary. It's a scary. Listen, I know what it's like to
comes
deal.
down
I know
to-
what it's like to deal with vengeance.
It comes down to
It's
you
just
do.
a scary
It
level.
comes down to
Maybe I'm a little
in so
shell-shocked.
many of these instances, it just comes down to credit. Like who gets the credit? And my hunch is, if you were to ask Bob Kraft, he would go, "I probably would have liked a little more credit." Like it was Belichick, Brady. Nobody ever mentions him. He's like, "I wrote all the checks. I built
I'm
the
the one that
stadium.
wanted Belichick.
I built Patriots Way. I went and hired him."
Yep.
I don't know about
So
that.
I-
He's featured in all the stuff. Like
It
even when
isn't.
they
It's
used to do the
Belichick,
America's
Brady.
games.
It's always Belichick, Brady. That's always what you get.
But it's what owner has ever gotten
But
that
all of
level
them
of
want
credit?
it. A lot of them want it. A lot of them want it.
It'd
They
be
do.
to me like if this Kansas City, if the Hunt family ultimately starts bad mouthing Andy Reid. Look at him today with a tie.
It's
What?
rare. We see that.
What?
Big. He's got to run a big business.
Whoa!
It's a big business, man. You rocking
Man.
a tie. Holy cow. Stay out of his way. Stay out of
Good
his
thing
way.
we're behind
kids.
double pane glass.
Oh my gosh. Crazy. All right, there you go. Kirko coming up next. This is Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
What an absolute treat getting to talk with one of my favorite guys that I've come across in my 12 years now with this team, and you were here for a good portion of them, especially right at the beginning. Linebacker Christian Kirksey. And Kirko, first of all, congrats on a great career.
Thank you.
Congrats on being recognized for being an elite human being. You're one of the few people in the NFL's history to be a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for 2 different organizations. You did it with the Browns as well as the Houston Texans, where you finished your career. And then today you came back to retire as a Cleveland Brown. Mm-hmm. What made you want to do that? Why was that important to you?
Oh, man. First off, thank you for the introduction.
Of course, man. Yes.
Man, it was important for me to come back here because obviously in 2014, D and Jimmy Haslam gave me opportunity to become a Brown, to be a part of this organization, and to come back 10 years later and be able to end my football career here and tie it back together is no greater story than that for me. The city treated me like family. It was so funny because certain people that I met in Cleveland, they thought that I was from Cleveland because how much I bought into the city and embraced it. Just did different things. I got some lifetime friends that I've met here in Cleveland. My wife is from Cleveland. My daughter is born in Cleveland. Man, I just got so many people that affects my life positively, and for me to pay it back forward and come back and close that chapter, it means a lot for me. So the city is special to me. What I embody, the city embodies. I have a huge connection with the fans. They've always been nice to me and my family. I have some good years here. Some of my better years was here, and just being able to play each and every time on that field. I was a captain, Walter Payton Man of the Year. Just it was a lot of positive and blessings here. So it makes sense for me to come back.
So I remember sitting in that chair, although it was not as nice of a chair. We got some new chairs in here, but in that spot when you were drafted 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years ago, probably next week.
Yeah.
That you got drafted in the 2014 draft. Your fellow draft classmate that's still going, Joel Bitonio, still here with the Browns from that 2014 draft class. But when you kind of look back on, I remember when I first talked to you, and I was like, man, you read everything you did at Iowa, how you were always a leader. I don't remember off the top of my head the name of the award you won your final year at Iowa, but that was like the heart of the team kind of award that you won there. To kind of think back from that kid who was coming in, and you're like, I'll do whatever, I'll play specialty, whatever, just get me on the field, to the career that you were able to have. And, what's kind of one thing that maybe you would look back and if you could tell, the kid who got drafted about the man that would be sitting here right now?
Yeah, just keep believing in yourself, and none of the hard work that you do go unnoticed. A lot of times you put in work, and a lot of times you try to be as humble as you can, because I was always taught to let another man praise you. Don't always just praise yourself or pat yourself on the back.
Sure.
But just do things humbly and moving at accord. That you don't know who's watching you, and you don't know that who life that you are affecting just by being you and working hard and setting that standard. So like the me now would tell the little me is to keep going and keep working hard no matter who's watching, behind closed doors. Stay true to yourself and just keep working hard, because like I said, the right person will see you, and the right opportunities will come your way just by being genuine and just by being authentic. And I think that's something that, I can say my whole career, no matter the outcome, no matter what's going on, like I remain true to who I was. And that's just loving the game of football, being the best teammate that I can be. I truly believe, like, if you're the best teammate, you get the respect from your teammates, and also just build that brotherhood in the locker room and on the field. It's like, if I can know you on a personal level, and if I can be vulnerable to allow myself to be open and for you to understand who I am, I think that's how, you build the camaraderie of the team, and that's all a part of a winning culture as well. So, I tell my young self that.
For sure. Listen, and you hit the next thing I was going to ask you. You talked about the respect of your teammates. When you are elected a team captain, as you were multiple times, that is the ultimate, right? The respect of your peers. And you certainly have had that everywhere you've gone, and definitely here in Cleveland. And I know that was something, for me and in my role, getting to interview you and getting to see you kind of interact with everybody loved you. Which is that's a great thing. That's a great thing. But that comes from being genuine. That's not something that can be faked into. Yeah. And so I think that was one of the things that not only what you did on the field, but what you did in the locker room, and certainly what you've done off the field with the Kirko Land Foundation, kind of all speaks to that, in the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominations of you are a genuine good human being, which is awesome. And I think when people who are that are able to get recognized like you were today and kind of have that, as you said, that kind of bookend and that closure, it's awesome, man. This is I'm overjoyed seeing you, dude. I've always I'd run into you when you would go down to Houston and we'd see you and I'd come find you. Usually you're stretching or something. Come find you and say what's up, dude. Like it's just. This is a business that is so transient. You know this. The locker room shifts over so much every year. But when you have somebody that, makes that kind of impression that you're able to still connect with like 10 years later, and it's like we saw each other 10 years ago, that's something special. I think it's a testament to you. So I guess it's a long-winded way of saying I've always really loved you, and it's awesome for me to see you kind of get this kind of recognition.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
And your teammates feel that way too. And I'm sure you've had a lot of people who have probably reached out to you at this point now that you're deciding to move on to something else.
And it's crazy because you really, when you're in it, you're just going day to day, and you're being who you are. You always taught to be a good teammate and everything like that. But when you look from the outside looking in and you look at your career, you're like man, like I've met some incredible people. I've had a great time. It's nothing that I can go back on besides I wish when I was here we went to the playoffs.
Of course. I was going to say, you were here at a time with the Browns where unfortunately there was a lot of chaos and turnover and not of coaches, front office. Right. So I always say this, I think, like when I go to the combine or something, like I know somebody in every organization now because at some point they were through the Cleveland Browns, and you knew them all too.
Yeah, I mean, every team that I went to, everybody's like, bro, how you know so many people? I'm like, I mean, to be honest, I played in Cleveland, and I just seen so many new faces. Yeah. But you know what though? I can say that Carlos Dansby, when I first got here, that was my big vet. Yep. And he told me, and it stuck with me since I first walked into an NFL door. And he was like, don't ever let anybody steal your joy away from the game because one, it's a business. Two, it's competition, and you're just gonna see a lot of new faces. But you got to keep your same joy because you can't dictate what happens to you in the league, but you can dictate your day to day and just having your joy. So I took that and ran with it. It was just look, whether I'm here, whether I'm at a new team, or when I just see new faces, it's man, I just keep my same joy. Because can't nobody take that away from me.
Smiling.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
you're always smiling. And listen, when people are smiling, it makes you feel like I want to smile. Smiling's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Carlos Dansby, when you say him, I think of two. Take away from football, obviously he was a great football player. And you actually look at his resume; it stacks up very well with some of the greats to play the position in terms of his ability to tackle, cover, sack, quarterback, all of that. But I remember he had that kind of that guru that. And so I always think of him eating lobster mac and cheese or whatever because that was allowed. And then he came out with the body wash. I can't think of it. Can you think of that name?
Montez Renault.
Montez Renault.
Montez. Yes, I had a bottle. And it's funny because when I think about Carlos, when I think about his diet, so I used to always be like, oh gee. I'm like, bro, why you eating the same food all the time? He
it works for my body. Yeah, it's blood analyze.
He'd be like, look here, young Kirko. He'd be like, hey, you gotta feel your body right. So it's funny because I look back when I went to Green Bay, I had that same diet, and it wasn't the same exact to a T. But I was eating the same stuff, and I ended up, doing the same things he did. I had the art machine just like he had, and I was laughing at myself because the young kids was looking at me like, hey, OG, why you eating the same stuff? And I'm like, man, life happens full circle, bro. It happens full circle.
Now you were dispensing that wisdom.
Yeah. So it's cool.
So when we got you, obviously young man coming out of college. Now here you are, decade later, family man. You got 2 kids, daughter 4, son 2, right? Yep. How's that? I mean, father, it's the best.
It's the best. And I think that's what keeps me going because obviously when you retire, as a athlete, you used to a structured schedule. Yeah. You used to just, I'm doing this at this part of the year. And I have this however break time on this part of the year. So you just used to having the consistency of a structured schedule. But it helps me now that I'm a father and a husband. Is I don't have no time to just sit still and do anything because I got to chase kids around. So, but it's such a joy, and I think it's a joy that it's unmatched that you really can't explain. When you see your seed come to life, and you're like this is my child. You want to instill the same things that was instilled in me, and it just
And I know it has to hit close to home with you with
Yeah.
what you went through as a young man
absolutely,
and everything. So.
absolutely. So it's like, you know, for me to be a father now, I think of my father, and you know, I respect my mother and father even much because I know how hard it is raising kids. Like some days you be like, man, this is beautiful. And then other days you like, you want to pull your hair out.
Like, can't you guys go take a vacation for a day or something? Like,
Yeah.
Like, no, we're here.
Like they're depending on you.
Well, yeah, without you, right.
Yeah,
without you,
so-
they're not making it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's the thing. I think it's so interesting. You think about kind of just nature in general, right? And you see the videos of like, you know, a baby giraffe kind of drops to the ground, then it's like up walking, and it's like it's got to kind of like do its own thing. You bring a human baby home without you, like no chance.
It's no chance.
Zero chance. Zero
and
chance.
you got to remind yourself, like, you know what? I have to do this.
Yeah.
Like on the bad days, you're like, I still got to be daddy.
No, it can be tough. I was gonna say when you're used to a schedule and things happening at, you know, certain times of the day, kids are just like, no.
Yeah, yeah.
We might wake up at 3 a.m. Sorry. Sorry about it.
I remember the first time I was at home during the hours that I was usually, you know, at work, and my son was looking at me like you
What are you
never,
doing here?
like, yeah, what are you doing here, bro? Like, you're never here around this time. And I'm like, yeah, that's when reality kicked in. Like, I'm gonna be here around this time every day.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You
Yeah.
still musician, still
Yeah,
banging the
man.
drums.
So I don't play the drums as much, but
Okay.
it's like riding a bike, man. Like you pick up the drumsticks and you give yourself 2 little minutes to dust off the rust.
Yeah.
And you get back to it. So I'm still musically gifted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's no doubt you're quite
Yeah,
gifted.
yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
a 9-year NFL career, music gifted. You're doing well, Kirko. You're doing well.
Doing well.
If you could tell us a little bit about the people who are listening, Kirko Land Foundation, and if they want to get involved with that, how would they do that?
To be honest, with the Kirko Land, we're gonna actually transition. So I don't know if too many people know my wife's story, but she's from Cleveland, and she just did Miss Houston,
Oh, wow.
the Miss America stuff. Well, Miss International.
Sure.
And she just did that last month, and her thing was foster care.
Okay.
So she's been involved heavily with the foster care because she, you know, dealt with foster care in her life. So we're kind of trying to transition to Kirko Land because Kirko Land is open-ended. It's super broad. So
Trying to
we're
get
like,
more of a focus on foster
more
care.
of a focus. So with Kirko Land, we was just, you know, help where needed. So we was doing back to school events. We was helping with homeless. We was helping with single mothers. We was helping with everything. But now I think we want to transition. And now that I'm married and, you know, have kids, want to transition into maybe aim towards foster care. But we haven't set it in stone. But like my wife is a huge advocate about that. So it's like, you know, her story is amazing, and now you partner it up with myself. It's like, you know, some good things can happen. So we looking into transitioning into that. But my
That's
wife's
awesome.
story is amazing, man, and she did good. She was first runner up to
Wow.
win. It was her first time ever doing it, so it was pretty dope. It was pretty dope.
Family of achievers. These kids
Yeah,
are going to be
yeah,
like, look
yeah.
out, world.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to
it's-
remember in, what would be about 60, he's 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have another Kirksey walking through these.
Hey, you never know. My son is 2 right now. He looked like he about to be a DN.
I love it too. Well, great to see you. I want to get you out of here on this one. We appreciate the time, and it's so cool to get to have you back here.
Man, glad to be
We talk-
back.
I mean, Gibby, I'll tell you, you do get referenced quite a bit on our program, just
Yeah.
because, you know, sometimes people will do, you know, who are some of the guys that you really, you know, that really stood out to you in your time here, and you're
Yeah.
always on that list.
Man, I
for me.
appreciate
so
it.
there's no doubt, and you know that.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
What's one thing, if you wanted to say, like, not to me, but just to the fans, you know, right now, is just
Yeah.
kind of like the final, you know, like, thank you.
Yeah, man. Look, man, a kid from St. Louis, Missouri. Man, y'all brought me in, and y'all made it feel home for me. Man, I love y'all with all my heart. Sorry, the years that I was here, we didn't get it done, but man, I had some of the best times, and y'all made it possible. Man, I love y'all, and dog chick for life. Y'all feel me?
Beautiful.
Yep,
Kirko, thank
yep,
you, man. Congrats.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, come on. How great is that? Great stuff with Z. Great stuff with Kirko on that. Coming up next, our guy Dane Brugler releases his 7-round mock draft. We'll tell you who he has us picking with all 6 picks. God love Dane. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Hey, did you guys watch the hoops last night? Did you watch it, Gibbe? The play-in? Did you watch it?
I did
did.
not.
Zion just can't stay healthy.
My guy. All right, so First of all, like I got to give some credit to the NBA. I've watched next to none of it all this season, but I was watching last night, and it's pretty good. It's a one-off. So 7 played 8. So it was Lakers at Pelicans. Winner goes on to play Denver as the 7 seed. Loser will play tomorrow, right? Thursday? Yeah, Thursday against the Kings, who whipped the Warriors. Warriors are done. So Pelicans will play the Kings in an elimination game, and they'll be the 8. Which is kind of nice because the 8 plays Oklahoma City, and you'd rather play Oklahoma City than Denver. So I watched much of it because it's basically a Game 7.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was pretty great.
Some
and
real stakes.
LeBron was locked in the whole way. It's crazy at age 40 that he could do this. He took a charge from Zion Williamson in the 4th quarter of the game. Were you watching it this time, Gibbe? When LeBron took the charge on Zion Williamson? It was a legitimate charge. It wasn't – he took a charge. He was 2 feet down. He was standing there. Zion Williamson going downhill ran over him. LeBron caromed, bounced. Like it was crazy.
It's a 260-pound human being.
Come on. 40-year-old man taking a charge like that? You got to be out of your mind.
I'm not doing that.
No. God, no.
Can I tell you something?
I've never done that. Not at 40, not at 12.
I think I was.
Of course you did.
I think I was, in my mind, one of the best, but in others' minds, might be one of the worst ever in the charge drill. We see those drills were like.
I'm not taking that. Yeah, when they said fall backwards, no, I'm good.
No, but like the way that our coach did it is, and then he'd scream at you, man or mouse, man or mouse. I'd be like, Mickey?
Yeah, you'd have to stand. The guy'd come at you hard. They'd lower their shoulder.
Yeah.
And then you had to fall down, and they were trying to teach us how to fall. Like, I don't want to learn how.
No.
Let somebody else do that.
I was good at that. Defensively, that's what I was.
Yeah, I'm not falling.
You know what I was good at?
Doing it.
Ole. Call me Roger Dorn.
So our coach would, like, you'd have the drill,
ahead, I'll contest
and if
it.
you didn't do the drill right, you got back in there to take it again.
But inevitably, same thing. Like my coaches did the same thing, and inevitably I'd get one that was satisfactory. But I always thought it was the stupidest thing ever. Anyway, he took a legit charge. So there is a stretch in the 4th quarter where Zion is unguardable. LeBron's on him, Davis is on him, Rui Hachimura's on him. None of them can do anything. He scores his 40th point to tie the game with 3 minutes, a little bit more than left in the game. Now, we rarely get to see the Lakers because they're usually on 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we don't get to see them much.
And we don't get to see the Pelicans.
No,
much,
neither one. So he scores. It's his 40th point, and then he goes to the bench, and Reggie and Harlan are on the call, and they're like, oh, he's grimacing. Now, I never saw him grimace. Then all of a sudden he gets to the bench. He's kind of like doubled over a little bit. Next thing I know, he goes to the locker room, and he's done.
And he's out.
He's done. So they're up 1, I think, when he hits D'Angelo Russell in the corner. D'Angelo hits a huge 3, puts him up 4, and it's over. But, like, we'll never know how that was going to finish because they had no answer for him.
No.
They really didn't.
I kept saying it. I'm like, I think Zion might pull that out.
Well, they weren't guarding him. There was nothing that they could do. He was going to score any time he wanted.
And he's now out for the Thursday game.
Sounds like it, yeah.
No, he's out. They've already ruled him
really?
out.
Yeah. And it's like a left leg?
Hamstring.
Oh, it's a hammy?
Yeah.
Jeez, that guy.
Guy can't catch a break.
So he can't stay healthy.
This year he played.
His shape isn't the best.
He played 70 games, which is a career high. 31.5 minutes a game, 57% from the floor, 33% from 3, 70% from the line, 6 boards, 5 assists, a steal, and 23 points a game. I mean,
here's what he reminds me of. He's Sixers Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Needs some more boards.
He is barrel. Yeah, of course. They always complain about that with him. Like, why is he not rebounding? He should average 10 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
He is downhill.
Yes.
To the rim. If you're shooting 57% and he has the ball in his hand a lot, it's to the rim downhill over and over again.
Yeah, he
has no touch.
He needs that free throw percentage to be up to 80.
Yeah, that's crazy. But it delivered. It was pretty great. And then tonight it's the Heat and the Sixers. So
that's a good game.
Well, that's huge because the Sixers could win the East because now they have Embiid back. So
young Sir Charles.
You ready
for it?
Down to rebound,
you ready for
Sir
it?
Charles.
Young Sir
What
Charles.
year are you going?
We'll start in his second year in the league. We'll start in 85.
All right, go ahead.
1985, Sir Charles Barkley, 60% from the floor, 68% from the line, 13 boards, 4 assists, 20 a game. His third year in the league. He shoots 64% from the floor, leads the league. In fact, he'd go on to lead the league in field goal percentage for 5 consecutive seasons.
Jeez.
From
That's
86,
6'4".
87, 88, 89, and 90. he'd improve his free throw percentage to get up to the mid-70s. That year, he also led the NBA in rebounds per game, 14.6, 5 assists, 23 a game. Then he goes to 28.3 and 12, 26 and 12 and a half, 25 and 12, 28 and 10, 23 and 11, 26 and 12, 22 and 11, 23 and 11, 23 and 12, 20 and 14.
What's the Suns year when he first got there when he won the MVP?
I went through all of those.
So that would have been.
By the way, we're going 20 and 10 for decades.
For a decade, yeah, plus.
He ended his career at the age of 36, shooting 51% from the floor, 65% from the line, 10.5 boards, 3 assists, 14.5 a game. That's at 36 years old. His first year in Phoenix, when he wins the MVP of the NBA, 56% from the floor, 30% from three, 77% from the line, 12.2 boards, 5.1 assists, 2 steals, a block, and 22 points a game. 26 points a game.
26
points
yeah,
a game.
yeah.
By the way, that 85, 86, 76er team, Barkley, Mo Cheeks,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. J,
Yep.
Moses Malone,
Yeah.
Mose Malone.
Moses Malone.
Bob McAdoo.
What's the deal?
I mean,
Bob McAdoo.
They just got old.
They
that
went
was towards
54
the end
and 28 and finished second in the East.
to the Celtics.
Matty Gukas.
That was just,
the head
they were
coach.
petering out. That was Dr. J, who had maybe one or two. But Dr. J's last year, I want to say, was 87. But so they were just petering out. They traded Moses to the Bullets shortly thereafter. And they ran out of steam.
He had one more year, 86, 87 for Dr. J.
Yeah. So that was it.
Yeah, he averaged
But it was
18
fun.
points. Yeah.
It was fun last night. I liked it. I liked the one-off. Honestly, hockey should do it. I can't believe hockey's not doing it. They should do it. They're the best thing. I mean, the most drama-filled was a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup because it's so random.
Yeah.
Like, they should do it. They had 4 teams at the bottom of the East in the NHL separated by 1 point. Like, one of them's Pittsburgh, one of them's Detroit. That would win.
So tonight's NBA games, Heat 76ers, both of which are 10 and 12 games above 500. Hawks Bulls. There's some nice garbage for you. 36 and 46 and 39 and 43.
Yeah, so that's an example of it not working. The Western
Yeah.
Conference
That's the
is an
9th and
example of it
10th.
working.
Well, the West, you had teams
West
that were
were-
10 games over 500 that didn't even get
the
the
Warriors
play
are.
in. Yeah.
They won 46
Yeah,
games,
46 games.
and they're out.
By the way, so I'm on Pro Basketball Reference. Would you mind indulging me as I go through the nicknames that it has listed for as official nicknames of Charles Barkley?
Sir Charles, round mound of rebound.
Okay, those are the first two.
Round mound of rebound's great.
Round mound of rebound was great. Sir Charles, the round mound of rebound. The Chuckster,
Yep.
the Chuck Wagon. I remember that.
Yep.
This I don't remember. The Prince of Pizza,
I don't remember that.
the Incredible Bulk, the
remember
Leaning
that.
Tower of Pizza, the Bread Truck, Boy Gorge, Love Boat, Food World, the Crisco Kid, the Wide Load from Leeds, Ton of Fun, and the Good Time Blimp.
They act
Now-
like he's Oliver Miller.
Now
he was at
first
no
of all,
point.
No, he was. He was.
Oh, he's pretty
squat,
shredded. Yeah,
but he was pretty.
He's not like Zion bounding around.
No, and I had heard of Sir Charles, the round mound of rebound, the Chuckster, and the Chuck Wagon. Once
rest
you got
is,
to the Prince of
I
Pizza.
feel like if you called
The
him any of the
Incredible
other ones,
Bulk.
you might go through the window like someone else did here in,
Food
in
World.
Cleveland at Shooters.
Was that in here when that happened?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. He threw somebody through. That happened here?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Charles got himself into a hot water a couple times here.
He always likes it here, though, doesn't he? He's
He
always
loves
excited when he comes here.
He loves it.
Yeah. All right. Brugler has his 7-round mock. I think it'd be disingenuous of me to act like I know anything about any of these guys. I would
No,
just
it was
say
more about the
positionally.
position.
That's what I was
Same.
going to go by. So let's go positionally. So
Okay.
second round, he has him taking defensive tackle Mason Smith.
Okay, that makes sense. And then they take the guy Amagadaji from Yale that I've been talking about quite a bit, the tackle.
Yep.
So that
Third
feels
in the third round.
Dane is usually, I think, kind of dialed into
I
what
think
we're
that's
looking
fair.
at.
Yeah.
So he has defensive tackle, offensive tackle. I think the positions, if you're thinking about it, are both a defensive tackle, offensive tackle, wide receiver, running back, linebacker.
So
And
then the next
guess what?
three
He
is
has them.
that, yeah.
That's
Taj Washington, wide receiver out of USC. J.D. Bertrand, linebacker out of Notre Dame. Isaiah Davis, running back out of South Dakota State. And then a guard, Javion Cohen, Miami. We'll see.
wonder if that's the U. Is that the U or the Red Hawks?
I think that would be the U, because I think otherwise it would say Miami U. That's my guess. For those interested at the top, he has Jaden Daniels going to Washington at 2. He has Drake May going 3 to New England. He has a trade for Minnesota up for J.J. McCarthy at 4 with Arizona. The Steelers drafting center Graham Barton out of Duke. The Ravens drafting offensive tackle Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. And the Bengals drafting Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle out of Texas. Does he have Marv 5th then? Marv to Chargers 5th?
Can I just say?
He actually has Arizona trading back up to 5
to get Marvin
to
Harrison.
take Marvin instead of the Chargers.
Which I could see.
I could see that.
So they trade out with Minnesota, and then they use one of Minnesota's picks to get back up.
Okay, and then they net a pick in the process.
I believe that when I see this and I see Steelers center, Ravens tackle, Bengals defensive tackle, though defensive tackle not as much, but when teams draft offensive linemen, I like that.
When they draft offensive linemen?
Yeah, when they just don't draft a weapon.
Yes. Easy. I'll take it.
Take it. Like, that doesn't scare me at all.
No.
Weapons scare me. That doesn't scare me. And I think part of it is because I was here at a time when we had, for sure, the best offensive line in the NFL, and it didn't really matter. We had Joe Thomas, Joel Bitonio, Alex Mack, Greco, and Mitchell Schwartz, and it didn't matter.
I get so fatigued when I hear that we've got to get better on the offensive line. Forever, I would just say, name me the starting offensive line for Tom Brady.
And by the way, like, the Niners' offensive line was terrible.
Name me the
Name the starting offensive line on the Chiefs.
You just need
Creed Humphrey.
Right.
And
with the Patriots, you get Logan Mankins. Okay, who else? Like, do the same thing with the Colts when Manning was there, other than Jeff Saturday. Who do you know? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They're all. I'm not to minimize the position. I'm just saying
very important.
that you don't need it to be excellent. You just need it to be competent.
Now that can get you in a one-game scenario.
Yeah.
Where a team's defensive line can overwhelm your offensive line. We saw that with the Chiefs overwhelming the Bengals. We saw that with
you saw Tampa
overwhelm the Chiefs.
Yes.
That can happen, but you still got to the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game. So
why? Because you have a wizard.
And you have weapons.
Yes. That's kind of the way that it goes.
Yep.
All right. Oh, this will be fun. A little higher, lower. Biggest NFL draft busts since 1990. Oh, this is fun. I wonder what we should do here is if we should, you tell us the year. How could we do this? We had to talk in the break.
Well, Z wanted to guess them. I know that.
I haven't even looked at it.
I want to try to guess them.
I haven't looked at it.
Me neither.
All right, because I do think there's a correct answer at number 1 that doesn't get brought up enough. All right, we'll get to all of that. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, time for a little higher, lower, presented by Keep It Fun Ohio from the Ohio Lottery, offering easy ways to keep gambling fun. Oh, this will be fun. Hello, Gibbe. Nope. Now go.
If only you had an on-air light, Gibbe.
If only. If only.
I feel like we missed an opportunity to, since this white is so bright, perhaps we should have in here a light.
I like it.
This is from CBSSports.com.
Let's go.
The 10 biggest NFL draft busts since 1990.
Okay. I like this. I have not looked at this list. Have you looked
to
at it?
To qualify for the bust list, you have to be at least a top 10 pick.
I think that's smart.
For
instance,
think
that's very
although
smart.
Johnny flamed out of the NFL after being selected with the 23rd overall pick in 2014, it's not as ugly as the time other people in the top 10 flamed out.
I agree.
In the NFL.
I think this is a smart way to do this. I don't think you should have guys in the 20s.
Now, the other thing that they put into it, the team's decision-making process going into the pick could factor into these rankings as well. Okay. I don't know. I believe y'all want to guess the 10 guys, and then we can go through where they're ranked? Or
well, why don't you give? I wrote down some. You write down the. Why don't you give me your list, and then we'll do the.
I was
going
to say I'll let you know if you have.
If we have
a
guy that's on it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I think there is again, have not looked at the list. The clear biggest bust in my lifetime in the NFL draft is Jamarcus Russell.
Yep.
He is on the list, but I'm not telling you where he's ranked.
So that is
he's going to be number 1.
He should be number 1.
He will
for a
be.
long time, my boy Leaf got a lot of stuff for being number 1. Russell went number 1 overall.
Correct.
Yes.
Russell's the right answer at number 1.
Jamarcus Russell. I agree.
So I have him.
Okay.
I do have my guy Leaf,
Yep.
All right, I've
He's
got
on this list.
Ryan Leaf.
and you have Jamarcus too, right?
I have Jamarcus as well. I have Achilles Smith.
I have Achilles Smith.
He is on this list.
Yep.
I've got Rick Meyer.
Rick Meyer's a good one.
What year was Rick Meyer, though?
He would have been
Second
mid-90s.
overall, 1993.
Yeah, he should be. He might have won like Rookie of the Year though.
He is not on this list.
He might have been competent that first year in Seattle, but he was a disaster.
He
did not go
was-
well. Did not go well.
I mean, no, disaster.
No.
He was the UPI Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
in
I think he was like
1993.
passable the 1 year.
At 56% completions, 2,833 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 17 picks, and leading the league with 47 sacks taken is
That's Rookie of the Year
passable,
worthy
with
in
a quarterback rating of
1993.
67.
That's all it takes.
By the way, his career quarterback rating 63.5. He should be on this list.
He is
He should
not.
be, I
He's
agree
not
too.
even in the honorable mention.
All right.
We'll
That's
talk
an
about
oversight.
that.
Mitch Trubisky. In fact, I think Mitch Trubisky should be ahead of Leaf. I know he's a Northeast Ohio guy,
He went to the playoff though.
dude,
He
but
is
he was
not
picked
on this
ahead.
list.
He was picked ahead of Mahomes and Watson.
If you take
And
into
Lamar.
that, if you take into the thinking,
Jeez.
Yeah,
They were
okay.
drafting a quarterback. They traded up to draft him in a class that was loaded.
Yeah, I hear you.
he is not on this list.
All right, he was on mine. You mentioned Achille, right?
Yep.
I did. I also have from that. Okay, so I had Kyle Bowler, but he was 19th overall, so I'm gonna cross him off the list. Kijana Carter.
Blew out his knee
Not on
before
this
he ever
list.
played. He is a total bust, but he blew out his knee in preseason.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in those days, you blow out a knee, you're done.
Yep.
So, like, that's one of those ones where usually he doesn't get credit for a bust because he got hurt right away.
It's unfortunate, but he
It's
was
got
the
hurt.
first
Same
overall
thing,
pick, and he
Courtney
never.
Brown
I
had
think
a
he got.
bunch of
I think he
stuff.
blew out his knee in the first preseason game, if I remember.
He never
Like he
ran.
was never the same.
Never ran for
Never
more
the
than 500 yards in a season, and in fact, only topped 300 yards in 2 of his 6 NFL.
In those
seasons.
days, an ACL though was a career ender. You just couldn't fix it.
it's still. I mean,
I agree with you. I'm not disputing it. I'm just saying, like, usually for injury they don't go that way.
All right.
I don't know if this. I think this is in the time frame. Is Tony Mandrich?
So I have Tony Manrich on my list.
That might have been because it's 89.
I think it's 89.
Tony Mandrich goes second. So it goes Aikman first, Mandrich second. The third pick is Deion Sanders. The fourth pick is Barry Sanders. Derek
89.
Thomas is also in that draft.
So Tony Manrich should be on the list, but yeah, it's
I think
89.
it's 89.
It's
But like
90.
people picked directly
Yeah, it's
behind
89.
him or start on the all-time NFL team.
Yep.
The two guys picked behind him. All right,
Um,
so 89, sorry.
I had a couple other ones that I don't know if they are all. I don't know if they qualify. Let me look. Okay, so Mike Mamula,
Oh, yeah, but is he top 10?
he was 7th overall.
Not on the
He
list.
was
Not on the
wildly
list.
incompetent.
This is pretty crazy.
Justin Gilbert's got to be on the list.
I have Justin Gilbert.
Justin Gilbert is on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
He's got to be on the list. Brian Bosworth, or is that 80s?
I don't think that was the 80s, and I don't know that Boz was a bust. Boz got hurt with the shoulder, too. People remember him getting run over by Beau, but in his first year, he was actually a pretty good player, and then his shoulder was broken.
So, I mean, he
You
only
got 4 out of the
played
10.
24 games in his career.
His shoulder. He
Yeah.
was done. You have to in those days, you got one of those injuries, you're cooked.
Cooked.
You couldn't play.
It's okay. It was 80s anyway, so it was
Yeah,
eligible.
yeah.
I'm gonna give one that he doesn't fit, but was on my list that I remembered very well was Dan McGuire.
Yeah.
Dan McGuire was the 16th overall pick
It's like 6'8", right?
of the Seattle Seahawks. His career stats are 745 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 picks, and he was picked 16th overall.
Jeez.
So, but he doesn't qualify. So Mamula, you said Mamula not on the list?
Nope.
Nah.
What about Mariota? Is he on it?
Nope.
He was second
What about-
overall.
Took him Titans to the playoffs a few times. I mean, it was never
How
great.
about
but
2003?
I have Courtney Brown on the list.
He was an honorable mention.
Courtney Brown. Did he get hurt here? I don't
LeVar
know.
Arrington.
No, Arrington was a good player. He was a
Was
good
he
player.
solid?
Yeah.
Not a bust?
Yeah.
All right.
No.
My bad.
Courtney got hurt. Is that what that was with him? Gerard Warren. What about him?
Should have been a bust. The honorable mention, not him. It was Courtney Brown and Trent Richardson in 2012.
Well, I had Richardson on my list. Yeah.
He was honorable mention.
He had at least a good rookie season.
He was one of those ones that, like, if you would have said, like, Trent Richardson felt like about the safest pick ever. Like, I didn't know, you never pick a running back that high, but it felt like, well, he's not going to be a bust. Like, you got a
Right.
player, and then all of a sudden he couldn't see holes.
1992.
I've got
92,
David
that's the
Klingler.
year before
David Klingler is on my
Cincinnati.
list.
That's
6th
the year
overall.
before The year before Bledsoe. Bledsoe's 93.
Is it not Klingler?
It's not.
What?
Who is?
You know, he went 4 and 20.
1992. Can I interest you in the spirit of time?
Andre Ware?
No, he's honorable mention. Can I interest you in Steve Entman?
Oh,
Defensive
Washington,
end,
University
Indy.
of Washington.
Yeah.
He went number 1 overall. Quentin Coriat went number 2 overall. They picked first and second. Coriat, linebacker out of Texas A&M, and then Entman, the defensive lineman out of Washington.
By the way, honorable mention, Jeff George, 1990.
You should have done
Hold
that
on
with
a
30
second.
seconds left in
Hold
the
on a
segment.
second. They don't have
Oh,
Rick Myers nowhere to be found. Jeff George took 2 different teams to the playoffs. That's outrageous.
He's on honorable mention?
No.
Oh.
Jeff George is honorable
He's on
mention.
Honorable mention.
He really
Honestly,
is in honorable
That's
mention.
unbelievable. All right, who are your 10? Who are their 10 biggest?
What about Trey
All right,
Lance?
here we go.
What about
Lance
Trey
has
Lance?
got to be on it. Trey Lance.
Trey Lance is
I
on
can't
it.
believe Klingler's on.
Number 1 is Jamarcus Russell.
Okay.
Number 2 is Ryan Leaf.
Yep.
Number 3 is Achilles Smith.
Okay, we have the top 3.
Number 4 is Trey Lance.
Okay.
Number 5 from 2003, Charles Rogers.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Lions wide receiver.
Yeah, they picked him second overall.
Number 6 from
Michigan State?
1996, the 6th overall pick, Lawrence Phillips.
Oh, my God.
From
That's an untimely
1994,
finish.
the 3rd overall pick, Heath Schuler.
I had Heath Schuler on my
Yeah.
list. We never got to him, but I have him on
Steve
my list.
Entman was number 8, honorable mention, Jeff George.
That's outrageous.
Number 9, 2012 5th overall pick, Justin Blackman.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, Blaine
receiver?
Gabbert.
Yeah.
I don't
Number
agree with
10
that.
is Justin Gilbert. An honorable mention on this list, Vernon Golston, 2008.
Hold on,
Ohio
wait a
State.
second.
He got picked that high because he had 3 sacks against Jake Long in the Michigan game.
Yep.
And Jake Long was – no
So-
one got sacks on him.
Justin Blackman ended up out of the league
Klingler
for a
was
substance
honorable
abuse
mention,
policy,
by the
but his first year in the league, he played 18 games in his career. He had 1,280 yards, 6 touchdowns, 14 yards a catch.
Yeah,
Like
that's not a
his,
So if he's a bust, it's the same way that Kajana Carter's a bust.
but
Kajana
Carter
been
is
better
honorable
than
mention.
he's been better than Kajana Carter ever was.
But Kajana never even had one healthy season.
so he had his first year. He had
My
14
point
games.
is
Yeah,
there was something that derailed the career.
derailed him. The second year, Blackman, and I remember this from fantasy, he only played 4 games before he got in trouble, and he had 29 catches for 415 yards in 4 games. He was leading the league with 104 yards per game. So, like, that's like
Yeah.
saying, like, he didn't fulfill his potential.
That's different than bust.
Yes.
So, real quick, we got to go to break. The honorable mentions, Troy Williamson, Vikings.
Yep.
Jason Smith, Rams.
Yeah, I remember that
Jake
one.
Locker, Titans.
I can't believe Klingler didn't make this.
Dave Klingler, Kajana Carter, John Ross, Andre
Jeff
Ware,
George is outrageous.
Mike Williams. He's on the list.
I know.
Mike
that's,
Williams, yeah. Who else?
Courtney Brown, Trent Richardson, and Blaine Gabbert.
There you go. So much more to come. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. The crazy thing about lists like that is then you start remembering those drafts and
Yeah.
all of the other ones that had happened in that time, and you think of the excitement in the moment of you feel like you've landed a guy.
You don't hear, like, in a draft analysis when somebody gets drafted, all you hear about is how they're going to be good.
Of course. Yeah.
So, yeah, everybody, it's like a foregone conclusion. Oh, dude.
Got a dude. Here we go.
Achilles Smith.
That's right. Cade McNown. Remember that one as a bear, like in the
Cade
Bears at the
McNown.
time. Yeah. No, it's wild. All right. Good stuff. Next level's coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.